Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about an absolute underestimated SMG, and that is the Uzi. I don't even know how you pronounce it in English correctly. Fantastic SMG, super good. Let's go down on and explain serious damage, ranges, usability, different builds. Let's go.
It's the same team as over there.
They're pushing you. Funny.
One down.
Okay. You got it, bro. Your pair.
The Uzi has two versions. You have the normal one and you have the 0.41 AE rounds. The AE rounds do obviously way more damage. I mean, it's like 6 damage to the chest more. That's insane. Stomach damage the same apart from the extremities. Also, the AE rounds have a better range ability, so there's technically no reason to actually use the normal Uzi rounds. You do want to have the AE rounds straight away. Also, did you know that the Uzi has a hipfire area of 5.5k square pixels, whereas the Mp5, for example, has 7.5? That's crazy, right? So we're talking about roughly the same damage profile. The Mp5 obviously having a little bit higher fire rate, but also a way faster drop off already. But the hipfire area of the Mp7 and the Uzi each is better. If we look at all of these guns in a time to kill chart, Mp5, Uzi, Mp7, they're all kind of very close together. Obviously, yes, the Mp5 is the absolute meta weapon. There's no talk about that. But as you can see, the Uzi, especially with the range ability on the E rounds, is quite insane, even outpacing like the Mp7 in its usability. Because usually you would say the Mp7 is such a good gun that you love to play together with a sniper. But reality is, if we look at this, that the Uzi is just actually better to be played with a sniper. So we're definitely have to whip out a build that can be played with a sniper. We're going to have to build a hipfire build because the hipfire is better than the Mp5's hipfire, at least from the hitability. If we change to headshot damage, everything kind of narrows down, so there's no big difference on all these guns. Everything just goes to the same time to kill, so I couldn't say that one gun is more worth it because of the headshot multiplier. Let's look at the base recoil. Okay, let's look at the base recoil. Already the AE rounds attached because, as I said, there's no reason to not use the AE rounds because they're straight up just better from range ability standpoint, from everything. You only have 32 bullets, but that doesn't matter because you have a decent good time to kill. What does the Uzi do? It has some really wobble in the scope, but not too bad, so the visual recoil is actually okay. And all in all, the gun just shoots in a straight line upwards. So if we would now add a lot of vert recoil, we would also get some horizontal bounce most likely. As you can see, the shots are squishing up left and right. So technically we would be talking about maybe a muzzle brake on the gun to actually get the shots a little bit more centered. Let's actually look at a hipfire version first because that's the easiest one to build. The standard hipfire we have here looks like this. And then there's also a certain amount of hipfire attachments we do have. The standard hipfire attachments we'll be talking about is obviously, as always, Merc foregrip. There's no question about that. Then, no stock adds also better hipfire spread, minus 17%, so even more. Then the number one attachment is the laser. That's over 50% hipfire accuracy better, so we need to take that. And as you have seen, the gun has like this spread there, this horizontal, and as it turns out, the actual muzzle brake does improve hipfire spread. I know it sounds crazy, but I tried it multiple times. It is so fantastic. Let me show you how good the hipfire spread now is. So already it was a very tiny, like, you know, it was very tiny. But compare this. Compare this. Same distance. Yeah. And that's the Uzi for you. Going a bit further back. Going a bit further back. No control, just left mouse button. Isn't that fantastic? What a great, beautiful hipfire spread. Everything super centered, everything middled out, everything going in. The Hipfire Uzi is a beast. It's just crazy how well done that thing is. Showed you muzzle brake, 5mm laser, no stock, and Merc foregrip. How do we turn this now into an Uzi that could be used with a sniper? Because as we said, the rangeability of the Uzi is crazy, up to 20 meters already base, and we could add a barrel on top of that. It doesn't seem that we actually do need a muzzle. Obviously, if you would like to be suppressed, you could add a monolithic. But we're going to stay with the standard AE rounds here. Now, let's look at the barrels. We have a couple of options. Which one is the best? If we're looking at the barrels, very interesting. You have the FSS Carbine Pro, which technically would be already the one. Like you have the range modifier plus 28%, you have bullet velocity plus 16%, you have vertical recoil reduction. It sounds all too good. Only plus 25 milliseconds ADS time. Bam! The factory carbine also fantastic. But realistically, both of them higher the hipfire spread by plus 47%. Now we would say, hey Pony, you're planning to play this gun together with the sniper. So why would you care about hipfire spread? Realistically though, if you pair a gun with a sniper, it's also your close quarter combat gun. And if we actually look at the first responder barrel, which is really the trick here, it adds plus 25 milliseconds ADS time, still plus 20% range, and also more bullet velocity actually, but it does not do anything to the hipfire area, which means that realistically you're actually getting a better hipfire spread and a good bullet velocity, range modifier, everything on the gun that you're planning to shoot on 20 meters plus. That sounds fantastic for me. And at the same time, you can hipfire the first responder still. So we have the first responder in the AE round mag, which means the hipfire is still 5.5k square pixels. Now we're obviously thinking about what we add here. The ADS time is already super low. We could actually add the 5mW laser, not going for the tag laser because we don't need the aim down sight speed. We're good already on that, but we add sprint to fire speed, so we're running, shooting faster. But at the same time, we also get the 50% hipfire increase, going down to 2.5k square pixels pretty much, which is better than what the Mp5 has at the end if you slap all the attachments on top of it. So that's already fantastic. And when it comes down to the foregrip, we have a couple of options. We saw that the Commando foregrip could be needed for the stabilization, but we're going to try out the Merc foregrip here to just see where it goes, because if the Merc foregrip actually works, then we have also 17% better hipfire again, and at the same time, a very good range ability. Now, obviously, the question on the last attachment, can you shoot the Uzi no scope? I don't like it personally. Like the tiny ring wobbles and bounces, and I'm going to be missing shots most likely to the actual like obstruction of the iron sight. If you can handle the iron sight, that's fantastic. You have the chance to actually put on a monolithic suppressor. You could use a muzzle brake. You could use a compensator. All three of these attachments are viable. I'm going to show you also how the recoil patterns look. I personally did choose to go for combat hollow sight with the blue dot because yes, you can hip fire at close quarter combat because again, it has like crazy hip fire capabilities, but at the same time, you have this blue dot for the insane target acquisition to just bop, 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 upper torso, upper torso, upper torso, and headshot, because that's what you're aiming for. Let's put it into the gun range. Compared to the Hipfire Uzi, we're only missing the muzzle brake, which makes the Hipfire a tiny bit better, just clustering it like this, horizontally. And we're missing the nose stock, so movement speed and 17% hipfire improvement. Still though, the hipfire of the gun is insane. There's no questions asked. The hipfire is just brutal on the Uzi. You go close to the target, we're like there's no questions asked. So we already have a gun that's very good to be shot on ranges. And then on top of that, when you're zooming in with your blue dot, the gun also just shoots very stable. We have some libble lobble left to right, so it's not completely a curve. And I do believe that if we actually add aiming stability like the tag laser instead of the 5mW laser, making the hipfire spread 50% worse, we could have a straighter curve. But again, it just feels on target already tremendously. Let's see how a Commando foregrip would do instead of the Merc foregrip. That would only lose us 17% and could be an argument here. Commando foregrip instead of Merc foregrip. Nah. That does not feel better, to be honest. The Merc foregrip felt way better. So what if we actually put on, we have two choices now. So we can put back on the Merc foregrip because that worked out tremendously well. So the Merc foregrip is the vibe to go. But as I said, if you want to play this without a Corp Combat holo sight, we have a couple of options here. So with a muzzle, we have three chances to go for. We could go for comp, muzzle brake, or monolithic suppressor. Let's try out the comp first. This is you losing now, obviously on the easy target acquisition. Also, yes, when you're shooting, you see that the scope bounces of the Uzi, and that could be a problem for some. So when we heavily compensate the shots, then yes, you get a little bit down, but not much because there is not much vert recoil, but your shots are kind of like spreading a little bit more. So I'm not sure if I like that all too much. When we can stay on point, that's not the problem, but the left and right wobble is also there. So let's try to actually put the comp off and put a muzzle brake on. Right now, I would still tremendously prefer the blue dot version because it was just slick and clean and was doing a very good job. Also, the visual recoil here lower, but the shooting pattern also not decisively better. So the muzzle brake, yes, clusters the shot a little bit together, but I think the standard wobble and bounce of the Uzi is not the problem here. I mean, you can shoot the gun as fantastic as you could shoot the compensated one. So there is not much being done to the gun because it just does not have a lot of crazy recoil. So all these stats, plus 27%, minus 27%, they don't do that much for the gun because there is not much to be done on the recoil. So you can definitely go for the monolithic suppressor here if you absolutely feel like it, but I would say over the sound suppression, I would rather prefer a better target acquisition. So I would go to the Corp Combat Holo side back again. So this is how our sniper Uzi would look, and I can tell you already, I've tested it. It works fantastic. I've been having so much fun with this gun. It is definitely my new gun that I love to pair with snipers. But which sniper do we pair this with? If we're looking at our sniper options, the Uzi is an aggressive rifle. The Uzi can be played hip fire and like 20, 30, 40 meters, really good on beaming people too. That means you want to have one of the super pumpy snipers. So you can play the Kar 98 with it. You can play the SKS with it. You've seen in the SKS explain video, the SPR. And I would also say the Dragunov plus the X50 is an option. X50, the last option potentially. Why the Dragunov? The Dragunov is fantastic. If you watch our Dragunov video, dude, this rifle is so much fun. So definitely in addition to the Uzi, I do usually pair it again with the SPR or the Kar 98. The SPR build being the standard one here with the 26-inch barrel monolithic tech laser, variable zoom scope, and the 300 Norma Mag. I try to build a different one with like the suppressed barrel, but it turns out I just really don't like it. I'm not hitting a single shot anymore. So that is the combination I go for here with the Hipfire Bud Sniper Uzi and the actual Hipfire Uzi. And before you say now, Pony, why don't you play the mini barrel? The mini barrel seems to be better for Hipfire. Yeah, that might be, but the muzzle brake is more efficient, to be honest. Very important to mention here. I do pair this together with my new favorite Amax, which kind of looks a little bit crazy. It has a Commando foregrip, a compensator, or Zodiac barrel, canted hybrid, and a Gatekeeper stock. The Gatekeeper stock for the insane aiming stability, because with the aiming stability and the canted hybrid, plus the Commando foregrip, it kind of feels like you have no recoil. At least it feels the most manageable for me by also getting the canted hybrid bonus magnification. I'm really enjoying the Gatekeeper stock. Also, if you want to try it out, instead of the Gatekeeper stock, try out the VLK optic and see if you do like this more. But I was really surprised by what the Gatekeeper stock did to the gun and how it just felt better for me to shoot. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this Uzi explained, Uzi explained video. Fantastic gun. I don't know, you probably have amazing builds that you already have tried out and tested. Drop them in the comments below so we can see what you think how the Uzi should be built, and definitely tell me about your experiences with the different barrels and if you knew about the first responder barrel being so insane, because that was for me the eye-opener on how to build this gun, because this is one of the few SMGs that you can build on range without losing hipfire capabilities. It's still fantastic hipfire monster while being able to shoot range. So you have the best of both the worlds. And I love that so much. You don't have to ADS in. You can clap butt cheeks. You don't need the tac laser. So good. Thank you for watching this. Thank you for supporting the channel so much. Can't wait for the 16th to come to get you all the Cold War content out there for you, ladies and gentlemen. I wish you a fantastic good time. Don't forget, please, to check out Pony of Place, our second variety YouTube channel with amazing content. Also, Cyberpunk is just around the corner, so you're going to see Warzone Cyberpunk coming. Cyberpunk then straight up to the second channel. Enjoy the Uzi, and see you soon in Verdansk.